Please remember to give the video a thumbs up, share your insights in the comments, and subscribe to keep up with our newest narratives. It was merely a typical Wednesday, the sort of day that seamlessly merges with the countless others that came before it. With a steaming cup of coffee in hand, I settled into my desk, embarking on the familiar ritual of sifting through emails, crafting replies, and confronting an endless array of tasks. At 43, life had settled into a rhythm that I had come to embrace. My life was a tapestry woven with the threads of routine, companionship, and work. Everything exuded a sense of security. Yet, that afternoon, an unforeseen event unfolded, one I could never have anticipated, not even in a million years. The telephone chimed with an urgent call. An unfamiliar number flashed on my screen, one I typically would ignore. Yet, for some inexplicable reason, I chose to answer. "Hello," I said, my tone laced with an unusual caution. "Hello, is this Enrico I'm speaking with?" came the voice from the other end. It unfolded seamlessly, with an air of professionalism and a touch of familiarity that made my heart race. I paused momentarily before finding my words. "Indeed, I am here to converse. Greetings, this is Felipe, your superior. How do you find yourself today?" "Mark?" Felipe, the esteemed leader at the marketing firm where I had dedicated the last 12 years of my career. A call from him was the last thing I anticipated, much less one that would ignite a flutter of anxious anticipation within me. "I'm well, simply navigating through the usual tasks at hand. What about you, Mark?" A brief silence lingered on the other end of the line. The soft rustle of papers mingled with the rhythmic tapping of fingers against the desk filled the air. A vague sense of discomfort washed over me, stirred by the peculiar hesitation in his demeanor. "I find myself in good spirits, Sarah. However, I must draw your attention to a matter of significance that I wish to discuss with you." A flutter stirred within my stomach. Significant? We were not scheduled for any performance evaluations, and we had just completed the significant project with the client. What prompts the call? My thoughts surged through a myriad of scenarios, each one more troubling than the last. "Is all well?" I inquired, a peculiar lump forming in my throat. A laugh echoed from the other end, yet it lacked a sense of joy. The atmosphere was charged with tension. "All is well, so there's no need for concern. In truth, it surpasses mere fineness. I believe this news will bring you some satisfaction." I released a breath, seeking to steady my nerves. Was he on the verge of granting me a raise or presenting a significant new opportunity? Perhaps he hoped I would embrace greater responsibility. The potential stretched out before them like an uncharted expanse, yet the flow of the conversation felt anything but organic. What could have prompted him to call me in such a manner? What's with the somber tone? It felt peculiar. "Very well," I replied, attempting to calm my frayed nerves. "What is happening?" "Indeed, Sarah, we have been reviewing your performance throughout the past year. I must admit you have truly surpassed all expectations, and I have an opportunity for you. Something I believe will pique your interest." Very well, my curiosity was piqued. Perhaps I was overanalyzing, yet the thrill within me was undeniable. Might this be an opportunity for advancement? Is there an upcoming project that offers greater visibility? "Proceed," I urged, my voice scarcely rising above a murmur. "Sarah, what are your thoughts on embracing a new role within the company? A choice that leans towards the more exclusive side." My heart pounded with fervor. A fresh opportunity awaits. Is there something unique? I must confess, the thought of a new role had never crossed my mind. Though I found solace in my surroundings, an insatiable curiosity began to stir within me. I found myself yearning for deeper understanding. "Could you clarify what you mean by exclusive?" I inquired. He chuckled, this time infused with a touch more warmth, yet it still resonated differently. At this moment, I can't divulge too much, but this chance would certainly place you in the limelight. You would be the face of the company on an exciting new project that has the potential to elevate your career significantly. The role would encompass extensive travel, engaging discussions with esteemed clients, and, naturally, a direct collaboration with me. My heart fluttered unexpectedly. This came as a surprise. I had been toiling diligently indeed, yet I had not foreseen anything of this magnitude. I had found solace in the routine of my days. Yet his words painted a vivid picture of liberation, an opportunity to soar beyond the ordinary and truly embrace my potential. Wow, that sounds incredible, I remarked somewhat breathlessly. Mark's voice took on a gentle quality. Indeed, and I believe you are prepared for it, Sarah. Your journey with us has been significant, and I truly feel this is the natural progression for you. However, before I proceed, I wish to ensure that this is truly something you desire to pursue. It would entail a significant commitment, accompanied by a considerable amount of responsibility. I'll be honest, it's a challenging journey. I reclined in my chair, contemplating his words. A flicker of excitement danced within me, yet a twinge of nervousness lingered just beneath the surface. The weight of it all was considerable. Yet, when had I ever shied away from a formidable challenge? When had I ever declined a chance to evolve? What sort of commitment are we discussing here? I inquired, my tone unwavering. Mark inhaled deeply, gathering his thoughts before he spoke. Indeed, it will demand a considerable amount of your time, Sarah. Some personal sacrifices will be necessary, and I require someone in whom I can place my utmost trust for this endeavor. There is no space for doubt. I inclined my head, though he remained unaware of the gesture. The tension was palpable, and I was acutely aware of it. Yet there was an undeniable force within me. Perhaps a blend of curiosity, a yearning for growth, or simply the thrill of being acknowledged, that urged me onward. I comprehend. I'm intrigued, I declared, my tone assured. Even as my thoughts continued to whirl, Mark hesitated once more, as though contemplating a significant decision. Then, in a tone that carried an air of secrecy, he said, "Good. There is one final matter I wish to share with you." Mark's voice dropped to a whisper, enveloping the conversation in an unsettling silence. For a fleeting instant, I questioned whether the silence had been a figment of my imagination. Yet he broke it once more, his words measured and intentional. "Before we move forward, Sarah, I must share something candidly with you." I straightened my posture, gripping the phone more firmly in my hand. This had transcended mere employment. An intangible presence lingered, something deeply personal, woven into the atmosphere. A palpable tension hung in the air, a delicate alteration in the dialogue that stirred a sense of unease within me, though the reason eluded my grasp. "Certainly," I responded, my voice laced with eager tension. "What is happening?" With a heavy heart, he let out a sigh. It was not the sort of sigh that emanated from a man weighed down by the drudgery of paperwork or the gravity of business choices. No, this one bore down on him, a burden he had been shouldering for what felt like an eternity. "Sarah, I have been observing your work with great attention, perhaps more than you might expect," he remarked, "and I have discerned something about you, something truly remarkable." His words took me by surprise. I had toiled diligently through the years, yet I never considered myself to be exceptional in that regard. Indeed, I excelled in my role, yet I was merely another component in the vast machinery, wasn't I? Nothing remarkable. Yet the sincerity in Mark's tone, tinged with an almost intimate quality, caused me to reconsider my thoughts. "Mark, I am grateful for your kind words, yet I began to voice my objections, yet he interrupted me with a soft touch. Listen, Sarah, it's important that you let me explain. I don't intend this solely in a professional manner, he remarked, his voice laden with significance. I am discussing a particular subject. Additional? Once more, my stomach twisted in a tumultuous dance. Additional? I repeated, struggling to maintain a steady tone. The entire scenario was beginning to take on an odd quality. Was he implying something deeper than just a career opportunity? Had I misunderstood his words? A surge of adrenaline coursed through me, as the haunting specter of anxiety began to settle in once more. It was an emotion I hadn't experienced in years: vulnerability, uncertainty, a sense of imbalance. Indeed, he responded. Throughout our time together, Sarah, I've come to understand that you embody much more than the role of an employee. I recognize the promise within you, extending far beyond the confines of the office. Mark, I started anew, attempting to unravel the mystery of his enigmatic words. Yet he continued, his voice adopting a gentler, almost confessional quality. It may seem unusual, but I have come to hold a profound admiration for you. It's not solely your dedication to your craft, but rather the essence of your character that truly stands out. Your demeanor, your principles, your unwavering integrity. There's an undeniable quality in you that inspires me to think we could achieve greater things as a team, if you catch my drift. His words lingered in the atmosphere, rendering the world around me as if it had come to a standstill. I found myself grappling with the meaning behind his words, as the distinction between professional admiration and something deeper seemed to fade away. Was I interpreting this too deeply? Had he overstepped his bounds? Text. I find myself at a loss for words, I murmured, grappling with my inner turmoil. A fragment of my being urged me to brush aside his words, yet another, more uncontrollable part, sensed the warmth that lingered in his voice. An irresistible allure enveloped me, as if I stood on the precipice of an undefined realm, my curiosity urging me to venture forth into the unknown. I understand this may come as a surprise, and I'm not requesting any immediate decisions from you, he continued, his voice remaining soft yet laced with a subtle urgency. I wanted to take a moment to express my feelings to you. I sincerely hope that you might share a similar sentiment, even if only to a small extent. My heart raced within my chest now. A choice loomed before me, yet the gravity of his words rendered me speechless. I had felt a sense of flattery from his praise indeed, but this was something entirely distinct. This was intimate, and it seemed as though I was venturing into uncharted realms. I had experienced relationships in the past, yet this one caught me completely off guard. Mark, I began, yet once more I found myself unable to complete the thought. What could I possibly articulate in response to that? What strategies might I employ to maneuver through this sensitive circumstance, particularly given that he holds the position of my superior? I understand this isn't simple, Mark remarked, perceiving my uncertainty. After much contemplation on the best way to reach out, I found it essential to speak my truth. I could no longer keep my emotions concealed. I exhaled a breath I hadn't realized I was holding, striving to regain my composure. The office, the job, the weight of responsibility. It all seemed like a distant memory now. What lingered was the gravity of his words, the manner in which he perceived me, the way he rendered me visible. I'm at a loss for words, Mark, I finally murmured, my voice gentle yet tinged with doubt. This is quite overwhelming. A heavy silence lingered on the other end of the line, and for a fleeting moment, I questioned whether my words had crossed a line. Yet, Mark's voice pierced the silence, his tone now buoyant, as if he were granting me the room I required. I'm not urging you to hurry, Sarah. Take a moment to reflect. Allow yourself the space you need, and when you feel prepared, reach out to me. I exhaled unsteadily, striving to regain control over my feelings. Very well, I murmured, my thoughts in a tumultuous dance. I shall ponder it further. Mark appeared to perceive my uncertainty, and I could nearly detect the subtle smile woven into his words. I anticipated your response. Regardless of your choice, I will honor it. I felt it was important to share my position with you. As the call concluded, I remained seated, enveloped in a haze of confusion. What had just transpired? Was I being carried away by forces beyond my grasp? Or had I merely been presented with a rare chance to evolve in both my personal and professional life? Uncertainty loomed over the horizon, yet one truth stood resolute. I had been irrevocably transformed in that instant. Something within me had stirred, and regardless of my choices, I could never return to the person I had been prior to that call. The days that followed that call slipped away in a haze, each one spiraling into greater chaos than the one before. I navigated the familiar landscape of my daily routine, meetings, emails, deadlines, but an unmistakable shift lingered in the air. My thoughts continually drifted back to that exchange with Mark, his words echoing in my mind like a haunting refrain. The question had burrowed deep into my thoughts, and there was no evading it. What was his true intention? What was it that I desired? I found myself ensnared in a dual existence, one where I was merely a 43-year-old woman striving to juggle work, obligations, and personal life, and another where I was perceived by him as something beyond the ordinary. The emotions that had begun to unfurl within me were impossible to overlook. The admiration I had always felt for Mark was now intertwined with a sense of curiosity and an elusive emotion I couldn't quite name. Yet, as the days unfolded, a transformation began to stir within me. I came to understand that I had been evading the one thing that terrified me the most, the notion of venturing beyond the confines of my comfort zone. For countless years, I adhered to the practical, treading the well-worn path that was laid out before me. Perhaps the moment had come to leap forward to welcome the uncertainty that lay ahead. In the end, what could possibly go wrong? Wasn't it worth the risk to embrace the possibility of something new, something genuine? I resolved that a direct conversation with Mark was necessary. A mere phone call could not untangle the intricate web of events that had already begun to unfold. In search of understanding, I realized that the only path to clarity lay in facing my emotions directly. I reached out to his office to inquire whether he was available for a meeting. As soon as he gave his consent, a knot of anxiety tightened in my stomach. What if I uttered the incorrect words? What if this altered the very fabric of our relationship forever? The following morning, I found myself at the office before dawn, wandering the parking lot, inhaling deeply to calm my nerves. As I stepped into his office, the air crackled with a palpable sense of expectation. Mark occupied his desk, yet he rose the moment he caught sight of me. His smile radiated warmth and reassurance, yet there lingered a subtle edge, hinting that he too had been anticipating this moment. "Is that you, Sarah?" He spoke gently, his gaze locking with mine. "It brings me joy that you were able to join us." I nodded, forcing down the knot that had formed in my throat. "I've been reflecting deeply on our conversation," I commenced, my voice unwavering, even as a flutter stirred within my chest. "I must speak candidly with you. Uncertainty looms ahead, yet I cannot dismiss the depth of my emotions. Your insights have sparked a deep reflection within me, Mark, and I've come to understand that embracing that risk is what I truly desire." Mark's gaze softened, revealing a hint of vulnerability in his expression for the first time. It felt as if he had been suspended in time, anticipating my reply. and now that it had finally arrived, he granted himself a fleeting sigh of relief. "Do you truly mean that?" he inquired, his voice scarcely rising above a whisper. I inclined my head, my heart racing. "Indeed, I truly mean it." A profound stillness enveloped us as we lingered in that space, the gravity of the moment hanging palpably in the air. A pivotal moment unfolded, steeped in a profound, silent comprehension. Mark edged forward, his hand extending cautiously, as though he were gauging the temperature of the moment. Though it lacked extravagance, there was an undeniable depth in the way he locked eyes with me, patiently anticipating my next step. With a deep breath, I stepped forward into the unknown. The tension that once enveloped us in uncertainty now resembled a bridge, guiding us toward an unknown destination neither of us could entirely foresee. Yet, in that instant, nothing else held significance. We were both ready to embrace the uncertainty that lay ahead, side by side. "Sarah," Mark said, his voice gaining a touch of confidence, "I never intended to impose any pressure on you. I simply wanted to convey my feelings to you." "I understand," I responded gently. "I'm truly pleased that you took that step." His smile blossomed, radiating sincerity and warmth. "The future remains a mystery to us, yet I am eager to explore it, should you be as well." I nodded, a wave of tranquility enveloping me. Whatever this was, whatever it might evolve into, I stood prepared. It was not solely the professional risks that mattered, but the profound personal discovery that unfolded when I dared to embrace the possibility of connection with someone who recognized me beyond my work, who saw the entirety of my being. As we stood there, a silent connection weaving itself between us, I came to understand that the true adventure lay not merely in embarking on a new chapter with Mark. It was a journey of welcoming life's unpredictability, permitting myself to be open, to forge connections, to evolve, and to unearth aspects of my being that had remained concealed for far too long. The ensuing weeks proved to be anything but simple. There existed instances of uncertainty, times when the boundary separating the professional realm from the personal one appeared indistinct. Yet, amidst the challenges, Mark and I upheld a shared respect that grounded our relationship. The bond we shared, whether it stayed within the confines of professionalism or blossomed into something deeper, was anchored in trust and mutual understanding. For the first time in my existence, I felt no trepidation about the journey ahead. Stepping out of his office that day, a subtle wave of pride washed over me. I had come to a conclusion that belonged solely to me, and that, above all else, illuminated the extent of my personal growth. This is a tale of vulnerability, honesty, and the bravery required to embrace the unknown. And whatever lay ahead, I was certain I was prepared.